Okay, we're starting the third turn of the game of Lords of the Spanish Main here. 4 players in play. The first 3 turns are on the sort of introductory video. We have the Hacendado, the Marquis, up here with his tobacco plantation marked on the map here in Espanola. That is the only colony we have at present. I have the bank just conveniently located in the middle of the sea there for me. And we have the buccaneer Jean Levasseur, the French buccaneer in charge of the Brethren of the Coast, with a fleet of 3 galleons there. We have the Courland Merchant Marine with 3 galleons here. They're at moment situated in privateer mode. Hidden in Saint Martin, which is here. So ready to intercept any trading ships moving back with goodies to Europe. And we have Sir Francis Drake, El Draco, here with his fleet of 3 galleons too. So these have ships, he doesn't have ships. And we start with the next yearly card. So we have a plague of locusts. Each sugar plantation is reduced to size 1. We have no sugar plantations, so that's okay. Then we move to capitalization. The Marquis is building a fort, so he pays 1 for that. The Buccaneer has nothing. And the Courland Merchant Marine actually have 2 things to pay for here, and they only have 1 gold. So they're going to pay 1 for the Huguenot refugees. And actually, I'm not sure what happens if you can't pay for something else that you are capitalizing. Maybe it just continues. Failure to pay requires the player to discard the affected card or tent. Yes, so that was a mistake. He's wasted a gold on that. He should not have gone into Buccaneer mode. In fact, I'm not going to disable him like that. The Buccaneer mode availed him nothing last turn, so let's just say he didn't do that. However, if he does not gain some gold, 2 gold this turn, he will lose both of those. And so Francis Drake has a silver mine being capitalised, so he pays a gold for that. Then we move to Skullduggery. That always costs gold. So that 4 gold was there. Now he can pay this 4 gold to increase a fleet size by 1, but he won't have any gold left for anything else, like for soldiers or anything, so I don't think that's a good idea. But what he's going to do is he's going to bribe, he's going to threaten the Marquis, so he was calling him the Duke. He's going to threaten him because the Duke is building a fort, and he's going to say, look, he has... he can use his art of ballistics to destroy a fort in battle. So he says, give me a gold and I will not destroy your fort. And the Marquis says, I haven't finished building my fort yet. How dare you? And I don't think you can attack it before it's built. And he rebuffs him, so that doesn't work. Okay. There's no other skullduggery to do at this point, so now we go to the auction. The card that we got is this one. It's a cocoa plantation, a Spanish cocoa colony in Venezuela. Caracas down here. So that's good. Everybody wants that, but not everybody has money. He really wants a fleet. He definitely needs a colony. So he's going to bid all. So Drake's only got 1 gold left, and the Marine have none. So he's the only competitor. This guy can easily outbid him, but that spends all of his gold. And that is a Spanish card, so he could let him have it, and then he could use his Mordida to disrupt it. But no, then he could seize it if it is disrupted. Or he can do a Spanish attack, destroy an immature Spanish colony. That's tricky. So he's going to let him buy it for 2. And it will mature in 3 years. And he might destroy it after he's paid a couple more gold to capitalise it. So now we go to unit actions, and he's first in unit action. He essentially has nothing he can do unless he takes one of these as a soldier. But he's going to need that for capitalisation. So he wants to trade. And this guy's going to start splitting his trading. I think, okay, so he's trading, so they're each going to get 1 for that. Then Drake goes next. He's also trading. They'll get 1 each for that. And then the Courland Marine will get 1 as well. So they trade, and then he doesn't have to do anything else. So then we pay out for those at the end of the unit actions stage. Okay. 2 more to him. So he gets a lot, and these all get a bit. They're going to really have to start working together. There's nothing to upgrade, nothing maturing, so we advance to the next turn. Stroke year. Okay, now so we take the next card, and there is a volcano in Ilopango. That's volcanic, that's here, so everyone's okay there, otherwise it would disrupt neighbouring colonies. Then we go to capitalisation. He has to pay 1, he has to pay 1, he has to pay 2, and he has to pay 1. Now this guy needs someone to help him because he's only got 1 gold. So he's going to make an agreement with the Brethren. He's going to say, because Drake's being favoured by the Marquis at the moment, so he says to the Brethren, look, give me a gold for the fort, and I will ensure that you can always trade with it. Each year that's at least 1 gold. And the Brethren says, okay, you better be good for your word, or else I'm going to burn it to the ground with my Mordida ability. And so they have an agreement there. He helps him, it sets him back, but they're looking for the long run together. So everything's capitalised. Now we go to Skullduggery. Oh no, the Spanish attack destroys an immature non-Spanish colony, of course, because Spain would not attack its own. And these colonies, these 2 are Spanish. This one is French. So he says, right, for 3 gold, I can destroy that. What are you going to grant me, Mr. Courland Merchant Marine? And the Courland Marine says, well look, you can destroy it obviously, but I'd rather it has stayed and you take it and grant me trading rights for it. And then he goes, well, what about my trading rights? he says, well, that goes with it. So Marquis will have to trade with these two. And then he's still got one more. And he says, okay, that's good. Because he will get everything for that. So that's going, and the fort goes with it because it's useless otherwise. That goes on to his capitalization track. That skullduggery is nasty. And then we go to the auction. So what we have here is a colony of Maroons, escaped slaves, on Nova Andalusia. It starts at size 3. It's here. Ezequito, King Miguel. Now that was a famous ex-slave colony. And there is an option in the game where you can have a player plays as King, is it Zamba? That's Ganga Zumba, and that is where he starts in that famed colony. So that's a nice place. Essentially, they're useful for raiding, filling with soldiers and raiding other colonies in the area. So it would be useful to have that to dominate Nova Andalusia, but at the moment it's not that useful. So these ones aren't going to spend their precious money, which means he gets it for a mere 1. And that is immediately available. That's size 3 as well. Okay, so then we go to the unit actions. This fellow will trade with him. This fellow trades, this fellow trades. So they all get 1, and the Marquis gets 3 again. And that is that turnover. It will go, won't be so quick when we get more colonies and fleets out. Okay, so turn those back. And no one feels strong enough to raid yet. They're saving up their money for their capitalizations and so forth. Instead of spending their gold, converting it into soldiers or armed bands. And then upgrades. So Marquis de Cordoba brings his brings this his, I say, that he just stole it, didn't he, from the Duke, from the Corlin Merchant Marine. So in Hospital Espanola, that's the same island he's already situated on. That will start at size 1, and he's going to bring online the fort on his Hacendado. That's self-protection, because I just realised that he also will put some soldiers in it, because otherwise any one of these with 1 soldier could have brought him down and disrupted him. I don't know why they hadn't done that sooner. I hadn't seen it, essentially. So now he's defended. Okay. Anyone else initiating any upgrades or so forth? No. Yes, the Marquis is going to initiate an upgrade immediately for that tobacco, to put a mill in there. Okay, and then we advance to the next turn stroke, yeah. And we have a bout of malaria. Each colony in a jungle loses a soldier and drops down a size. Well, we're not very populated at the moment, so the jungles are here, here. Ezequito is a colony. So this drops down a size. And Hospital and San Diego are not. They're on just kind of like a non-malarial jungly areas. Okay. So capitalization. There's 2 to pay here, 1 to pay here, nothing to pay here, and 1 to pay here. Skullduggery. Nobody else has any money to do. So, okay. Well, he hasn't got money to do any of his, and he doesn't need to do any of his. I'll tell you what, I'm going to backtrack a bit and say that the Duke of Corlin said, look, you can take it, but you have to give me 2 gold for it, otherwise I'm going to let you just destroy it. You need some recompense for all that. And also I want to get these going a bit more, because this guy's flying. Okay, so now we go to the auction, and we have a colony. Los Negros des Mariscal Castellanos, Esclavos Rebeldes de las Perlas, in Nueva Granada. And it's size 2 maximum. Only 1 year is pearl diving colony. So that can only bring 2 gold maximum in trading, but it's something. He's could take the monopoly on it. But he needs, let's give him, everyone else is going to keep their money and he's going to take that. So unit actions. Trading. Now he can trade this guy could go Buccaneer, but he's still only size 1. Really needs he could destroy that in spite. But anyway, the decision with him, he's trading. He's going to trade here because that's safe. Francis Drake likewise is trading 2 and 2, which means that he could trade with that or destroy it. He's going for trade. Really, he wants to destroy it. But and then this fellow has got nothing else he needs to do or can do. So we reset and collect the gold. So he gets 4. He gets 1. He gets 1. And Drake gets 2. We go to the next turn. And again we have malarial affliction. Capitalization. 2 here. 1 here. 1 here. And 1 here. And then we have the banking house of Welza, which is Spanish. That's a colony, so you can trade with that in Venezuela. So it's a banking house based in Venezuela, Maracaibo. Okay, on the coast, of course. That's very nice. He's got 3 gold. He's going to win the tie because he's Spanish, and none of these are. And this is a Spanish place, so he can match these 2 gold from these 2. But these 2 have a conversation. They say, look, we're going to No, it's not their time yet. They could outmatch him with 4 gold, but then they have nothing to pay for to capitalise with. So he gets it for 2, because they will match him for 2. And that goes 2 years ahead. 1, 2, okay. So unit actions. Is he going for piracy against this? He will take this gold. And he can disrupt it. But then he won't be able to trade. He can trade with that one when he's a pirate, so because it's French. Okay, so he's trading. He's going to trade with this. He says, don't you dare. Drake's trading. So 2 with this. And he's trading the 3rd one on this. Okay, so same old story. So he gets 4. I don't really need to turn it them all because we know what's going on at this point. It's just later on. Won't be useful, but it's good to stay in the habit, I think. Okay. So maturations, we have the fort here. So now there's a fort. That was the last chance to disrupt it. But I don't think it was in any way. Although this guy's getting a great monopoly, it's not really in any of these guys' interests, I think, because they just don't have to trade with it. No maturation anywhere else. Okay, and so we advance to the next year. Now this is the treasure year. So the treasure comes out, and so we get 25 gold in each of the treasure colonies. Cartagena, Portobello, San Juan de Ulloa, Ulloa, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, and Havana. And this fellow pays a gold to allow him to dictate who can pick up who the treasure fleet will be. Well, Francis Drake, he promised him that. So he's going to be able to pick up 2. But we have 2 others now. They aren't going to want... And they can't split it, so... But they could say, hey look, you let us take them, or else it's not going to work. So I think what's going to happen is those are just going to be raided, possibly. It's always tricky at this point. And there's an optional game where you can have, instead of these 25 golds coming out every 5th year, you can have 10 gold coming out every year. That would slow the game down a bit because you've got more to happen each year. But it might. There's a lot of gold suddenly is in the balance here, and it's going to be Drake and the Marquis who get it. I can't see a way because you can't split one of these gold tenths. It's 25 gold. There's no way of splitting it. So if he carries one, he can't offer half of it in return. And although there's 2, neither of these have got 2 hold spaces. So they could somehow make a complicated arrangement where one owes the other half of it or something, but I don't think that's going to work in the long run. I wouldn't trust anyone to pay me 12 gold over 12 years. Even if they just accidentally can't keep it up. So he's going to say, Drake, it's yours. You carry that stuff. and the rest will have to rot. Some other government-sponsored flotters will take it. That's it. Then we reveal the card for the year. And we have a plague of locusts. Each sugar plantation is reduced to size 1. We don't have any sugar plantation. Out. So that's okay. Capitalization. Well, I just did that actually for to declare the. Sorry, capitalization. These guys. After capitalization is skullduggery, and that's when the fleet would be declared. And then auction of this, which is a fleet. So a fleet's always about 3 ships, but these are barks rather than galleons. You can see they only have 2 main sails, two main masts instead of 3 as the player characters have. So although they can sail through the shoals round here, they cannot. They can carry either or gold or soldiers, not both, which the galleons can do. But he wants a fleet, so he's going to be bidding full out for this. These two join together to make sure he has to pay the maximum 3 for it. Okay, so he's got that. That comes on board straight away. No capitalization needed. Unit actions. So, same as before, except he's taking. So he's going to take a gold for trading, which means he will take a gold. He's going to take a gold for trading with the Marquises colonies, and then but these could go piratical and try and intercept the treasure fleet. But Francis Drake will. So he goes first, so he doesn't get that opportunity, so he just trades. Then Francis Drake outfits, so he's got 2 sailors, and he will pick up these 2 gold treasure chests, as it were, and sails in here, picks them up from here, and sails out here. Oh yeah, no. So he could have. Sorry, yeah, he could have gone privateering in one of these and hopefully intercept. He's got 1 in 3 chance of meeting that, and now it's too late for this guy. So yeah, he had the chance. Oh well, missed it. What would have happened though was he would have had 1 sailor, and he had 2. And Francis Drake is an excellent seaman. He's also, but Francis Drake's just that bit better, so Drake's going to have the advantage overall. A very risky business for him and for him, but you know, Drake's got a lot to win for him. I think it would be too. I'm not doing it. Probably it might be wise because he could have taken all that gold to himself, and that would have been him well into the game. Or it could disrupt him out. It could put him out of the game for 4 years. And he'd had to be lucky. No, I think it's too risky. I'd like to try it, but I think it's too risky. Another day. Okay. So yeah, and then he did the trading. So, and when we go to the resetting the profit levels, they each get 25 gold, and their coffers cannot be spent. It's just there. Gold for winning the game, towards winning the game, and these fellows each get 1. And he gets 2 from their trading. and then this gold goes back to Spain in a different way. And that is that. It's a shame, but still. Now, so we advanced turn markers. Oh, sorry, and I forgot these guys. The capitalized are maturing. They have, this colony has matured. So the buccaneers have now got a colony of Coco, and Corlin Merchant Marine have a pearl diving colony, and Francis Drake is in charge of a silver mine. So we'll put out their tents. The silver mine is on Cuba, Santiago de Cuba, and the pearl dive is on Nueva Granada. Nueva Granada's here, Rio de la Hacha, that, and this one was in Venezuela, Caracas. Someone's got to turn pirate in a minute. There's always smuggling ports, but they're not, which you can trade through, but there's no colonies on them at the moment. And they might never turn up this game. Okay, and so the next turn I have a Hurricane Lisbeth. Each privateer and colony in this zone drops down a size and is disrupted if it goes to 0. And Hurricane Lisbeth is here. That zone is essentially Jamaica, which would be a pirate cove, Port Royal. There's no one there, so that has no effect. Capitalization, he's got to pay 1. That's the only one on. Okay, unit actions. This guy's now going to trade with his own port, his own colony, and he's also putting some soldiers in it for some defence. Likewise here. And likewise Drake should have started upgrading already, but he's a bit short on money. He could take the soldiers out of here, or he could go. No, Drake doesn't have anything to him now. He's got 25 treasure. It's time to start hitting on this guy. So let's think about what Drake's actually going to do. Both these colonies are fortified, so he can't sack them, but he can threaten them. That one's too strong. That would be equal. And that one, because it's got nothing to lose, no soldiers, and he can't sack it, that means disrupt it, so the guy loses the card. There's actually nothing Drake can do to that colony. Curses. What he could do is go privateer and try and intercept. He's not, for now he's just going to trade. So he'll trade 2. One with himself and one with this one. And now this fellow has a fleet, so he can trade with himself. And because the others have now got colonies, he's not getting so much. So okay, finish all of that. There's no other movements. No one's a pirate, so we don't have to worry about where people are going. Oh, and I forgot to auction the Cimarrones, which is another native colony. That's in Venezuela. Now that's interesting because that could threaten his colony. So he's going to get it. This guy's just monopolising everything. So he pays 2 to get that. And then in his go, he trades with himself. He puts a soldier in there and a soldier in the Cimarrones. Now, can you do that? Can you put soldiers in your colonies straight like that? I think you can. Yes, you can. Okay. Otherwise, the native colonies can gain soldiers through trading if there's another colony on the same land mass as them, same region. Okay. So when we go to the upgrades, he's gaining himself 2 gold. He's gaining himself 2 gold. Drake's gaining himself 3 gold. And Mark is gaining himself 2 gold. So Drake's actually in the lead just cash-wise at the moment. And then we go to upgrades, maturation of upgrades. We got the maturation of this colony. Oh, I need to put this out. So the Cimarrones in Venezuela. And there. And now he's got the banking house of Huiza in Venezuela too. Oops. So he's heavily involved in Venezuela. And he's got a sugar mill to upgrade his original tobacco colony. Which means from now on, if someone trades 1 gold with him, that person will get 1 gold and he will get 2. Okay, that's all the maturations, and so we advance another year. Now I've done something wrong. I've only got 1 card here. I think I must have. I don't think now, but maybe in the previous video I forgot to move the years on. Let me see. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so this should be the 10th. Yes, so let's just move them all on. Never mind. Okay, and we have a plague of rats. The largest colonies are reduced to size 1. That's this one. No other large colonies. Okay, by a plague, so that brings him down to size somewhat. Any capitalization? Oh no, I should have said in the last upgrades era, Drake would have wanted to start a mill for a silver mill for his silver colony. I didn't notice before they're actually marked sugar, silver. Is there a tobacco mill? No, but this can be upgraded. Okay. Okay, so capitalization, one for Drake, and Skullduggery. He needs one more. He can destroy this. Between these three, they could pounce on this fellow. He hasn't got he's not so strong. He says, look, Duke, give me a gold, and I will, his Skullduggery goes in order from high to low crown, so his Skullduggery happens first. There's nothing he can do. Any fleet up one, he doesn't have enough gold to do anything. So, then his Skullduggery can come next. He says, look, Drake, you're the richest. We got to bring this guy down size. It's in your interests. Give me a gold. And you, Courland. And so for 4 gold, I'll bring my fleet up one. They go, what? We're making you stronger for what? And he says, well, so that I will attack this and take out the Marquise's colony, set him back 4 years. These guys say, well, yeah, you could attack it, but we could finish him off. You don't have to do the whole thing. You don't need to be that strong. He goes, curses, they keep it. They're gold. They say, okay, so no Skullduggery there. Auctioning of this. It's Dunkirky privateers. Dutch, Henrik Jacques-Zoon Lucifer and son El Mulato. Well, he obviously wants them, but he doesn't have so much gold now, does he? These two could both benefit. So they'll be fighting it out amongst them, and these privateers have no religion as such, so, and the Courlands are not religious either. They're neither Protestant nor Catholic, so it's just going to be the higher crown who wins. So Courland will win out. So Drake's going to let him have it for 2. That goes straight down here. Okay, now unit action. So he's first. So what he does is he goes, right, I got my soldiers. I'm going to base myself in the islands of New Providence. And so secretly, the others don't know, he puts that card under. And then he says, right, I'm going to raid Marquis de Cordoba's colony on Santo Domingo. Now, what you do is you can call for a ransom, demand a gold piece. If he gives you a gold piece, you could leave him alone. If he doesn't, the raider can siege or withdraw. If you siege, he's going to become a pirate. In which case he could not actually trade with his own, the player's own colony, which is Spanish. In the previous game, someone was crowned a prince, I think, Sir Walter Raleigh. And he could offer a letter of marque which can take away the piracy tent, but here no. And there's no other colonies, so he doesn't really want to do that. So he would call his bluff. There, he does have a French colony there. And he says, no, I'm going for it. So he becomes a pirate. They have to deal with the Marquis somehow. And in the siege, each side exchanges soldiers. Now he loses one, and he loses one. Oh, hang on a minute. Actually, it might be because he's got two. He has to lose two, and because losing two means maybe you can't just choose to do like half a siege. Yeah, so it's the side with the most soldiers, so you can't do that. It's only Eldraco that can do that. So he could only do that if he was up a size. So he's gonna go back to that Skullduggery. He takes a gold from each of them because they need to knock him down. He spends that with his Skullduggery from his Mordida card to increase the size of a fleet by 1. Then he puts his last gold in his basing action in there. Sails up to that guy. Give me a gold. No. Okay. Sieges him. They both lose equal number. And because he's got... he needs 2 gold for that Skullduggery. These ones are going to have to pay that too. And they're willing, because this guy's got to be pulled back. And that brings that, will take that fort off it. Okay, so that fort is destroyed, but that's still standing. If he had a soldier left, he could sack it, but he doesn't. So now he's finished his actions. Then Drake can do his action. Now he can sail in, turn piratical himself. This is not good news for these guys. They won't be able to trade, but still. The plan is a plan. Essentially then these two are going to be aligned trading, and these ones will be sniping off them. So I think after this, so he's got soldiers remaining, he doesn't. So this is sacked. It loses the upgrade, and he goes down here into the mercenary deck. So this player will have to bid on his own Hacendado to bring it back in. No one else can bid to get it, and then he has to capitalise it. Oh no, and he's only out for 2 years. If these guys go out, they go out for 4 years. This was only for 2. Oh, well, that'll still set him back a bit. Maybe they can do it again. Keep doing it again and again until he starts paying them money or promising them treasure flotillas. Okay, now Drake's a pirate. He can go and attack somewhere else too. This has a fort, so we can't do anything about that. But the banking house of Wesler has nothing. He could threaten a gold, he could give him a gold, but is he going to stand by it? No. There's no point giving him a gold, he's going to sack that too. So these two are off. Off those colonies that are no more owned by those players, or that player. And then Drake could go around and attack him and him, which would be really cruel. And he's not going to do that yet. It's tempting, but no. Okay, so he's finished his actions. No, his actions... where is Drake hidden out? There, not telling you yet. And so the Courland Merchant Marine are like, what's going on? We had nothing to do with that. Terribly sorry. Anyway, I'm trading with myself. I got 2 colonies. So that this fleet has to be bigger. It has to be a size 2 fleet so it can get trade from both of those. So that's not so great. But he has a, so he's finished. Now here's a fleet now. The Flot d'Espanois, French Illinois the Cruel. So he's paying him off to do stuff, trading for him, and he's still got a colony there, so he can trade with that. So that's the end of the unit actions. So he gains no gold from that, but has brought himself up. He did get these guys to build up his fleet, lend him some ships or whatever, the money to do it. He's gained 2 gold, and he has nothing. He couldn't even trade now with his own silver mine because of the way it would look, and he gains 2 gold. So he's still in the running. Even though his main business is out of action, that player's still going. Okay, and anything to mature? No, and that's the end of that year. We advance the turn, so that's a decade of trade, piracy and skullduggery on the high seas. And what we want is a ship battle, isn't it? So let's keep going. So we have an earthquake in El Chicon. No, sorry, volcano in El Chicon. Where is that? Here in the Yucatan. Okay. So that. Affects no one. Now we go to capitalization. Nobody's got anything there. Oh yes, sorry. Francis Drake is capitalizing his sugar mill. So even someone else could trade with this and he will get money for it, but he can't trade with it himself. And then some skullduggery. What skullduggery can happen? Strictly, I should have done all the skullduggery in the skullduggery phase, as I understand it. And I guess that only happens once, that being able to destroy a fort defending in battle, or perhaps because he's paid it. He can do it all the time. And no, I think probably for that mission you paid that mathematician for that art of ballistics, and you'd have to hire his services again if it's done. So no skullduggery. If he had 6 gold, he would up his fleet he owns. Okay, so auction. Auction of the Compagnie des Marchands. That's a colony. I should have done that earlier, shouldn't I? Turn the lights on. Tobacco colony. They mature very quickly in the Leeward Islands here. No, backtrack. So last year, he traded, and I have to say where he went off. Because he has to come on here, he goes over to his over to the colony there, and then he has to go to Europe this way. He could go up here, could go up here. He can't go through the shoals here, so he has to go up here or off here. But it's going to take him through one of these piratically potential areas, and I'm going to say it's this one. Now he's based in New Providence up here, but where did Francis Drake based himself? St. Martin here. So Francis Drake could have intercepted that, and we would have had a naval battle. But I'm going to let him go because they don't want to. This is still their enemy. They don't want in fighting amongst themselves yet. Francis Drake is well ahead of him in gold. But likewise, this fellow has to go out. And again, seeing that Saint Martin is free, seeing as that fleet went through, he might go, oh, so there's no pirates there. Or it might be a bluff and they go through there and then Drake jumps on him, so I'll let him roll. And it's a 1, so he goes through there again. So, in fact, this fleet, we have that naval battle. So I'm backtracking to the unit actions in last year. So before they'd actually have gained the 2 gold for that. So we have a fleet here against Drake. Now, the way this happens is this. One of them's he's much far better seaman. That's not bad. L, he's on D, so A is the best. L's not bad, but he's only got 1 soldier. This fellow has 2. So he's really got 2 choices: either to try and seize the weather vane to gain an advantage, or to flee. And Drake kind of knows he's going to do one of those. So Drake. But then he might do something else completely different just to surprise him. Now, you can you can spend a lot of time analysing this graph and trying to judge what your opponent's going to do. Or they suggest as an option in the game is no one looks at that when they're deciding what to do. They can either do a broadside, go for boarding, flee, or seize the weather vane. So you have 4 choices, and you'll fly by the seat of your pants doing it. So what I'm going to do is Drake's going to try and seize the weather vane, and this guy on a 1 to 3 he tries to do that, and a 4, 5, or 6 he tries to flee. So 4, 5, or 6 he's fleeing. So simultaneously those actions happen. So if you seize the weather vane and you have better seamanship, you gain it. So Drake has the weather vane. That's marked with a mini tent there temporarily. And if you're trying to flee, you have the weather vane, the battle ends, so you got away. You might have taken some damage if someone was broadsiding you at that time or attempting boarding, but still. If you have the better seamanship, versus seize the weather vane or broadside. So if he had better seamanship, because Drake seized the weather vane, he would manage to flee. But he doesn't have the better seamanship, he doesn't have the weather vane, so he has no advantages. And versus a broadside, he would flee, but he would have lost a soldier in that. Otherwise, no effect. So now it's doubly bad for him because Drake has the weather vane, his better seamanship. I'm just going to randomise. So he's trying to seize the weather vane now, and Drake's not going to try and flee. Drake's going for broadside. So Drake's broadside, you have the weather vane. If the opponent has more ships, you kill an enemy soldier. Otherwise, you kill 2 enemy soldiers. Well, he's sunk because 1 enemy soldier is gone, and then the second hit, because he's a size 1, that breaks him to 0. He's disrupted and gone. So that means that he doesn't get the gold from that trade. But he did, his colony still got it. But let's see his seizing the weather vane. What effect did that have? You have the weather vane or the better seamanship. You have no advantages. Versus boarding or broadside, he would seize the weather vane. Versus flee, he would lose something, otherwise no effect. So, in fact, he's now got the weather vane, but he's sunk. So he got himself into a good position, but just not fast enough. And that is the end of that sea battle. So you can see it's devastating to one or the other, and possibly both parties. If you have several rounds and you've got 2 or 3 soldiers on your ship, 2 or 3 size fleets, both sides could be losing fair amount of soldiers and or ships from their fleets. So the variables you have in that, or the differences, are better seamanship and size of your fleet, because if your opponent has more ships, it can cause more damage on a broadside, or if you have more ships, you have less damage done to you. One thing we didn't see was seizing a prize. Now, that he was a bit too effective. He sunk the enemy ship. Otherwise, he could have captured it as a prize, and that would have increased Drake's fleet size, which would have been very handy. So that was great. We've seen a sea combat and how you intercept the fleets as they are moving back to Europe. Okay, so that's great. A really bad year for the Marquis de Cordoba. Okay, still. He's still got on the map. I haven't marked this one. He's still got 3 colonies, but 2 of them are just natives who don't actually produce anything that they can raid. So now we're on the first year of the next decade. So there was that volcano, which doesn't affect, and now capitalisation. So Francis Drake paid for his, didn't he? That was it. So Skullduggery, no, and auction. So this is a tobacco colony which can be upgraded. It could be very valuable. He has no money. He has little. He has little. He actually has more. Those two. If they give their money, they're going to give their money to the Buccaneers, who are going to take control of that colony because it's French. They have 3 gold against his 3 gold, which he might well bid, and he will win that bid, being the same nationality as the colony. So let's just see if he's going to spend that much. So he says 1, he says 1, he says 2, and he would win that on 1 unless he says 2. So he says 2 and then he says 2, I think. Okay, so that's 1 each from those 2, let's say. And that will be capitalised in 2 years' time. Okay. Unit actions. So he's a privateer. Now what he can do is he can lose a privateer status, but because he's a pirate, he can't just lose it. So if he hadn't, if he'd only threatened and that guy had paid him a gold, he could have gone back to trading, but he didn't and he can't. Now what he can do is take some soldiers from here, put them onto here, but then that opens that to possible attacks. So I think he's going to lie low as a pirate this year. And Drake is sailing pretty high. He's got no one to trade with. One thing he could do is he could change his base to keep people guessing, which he's going to do. Okay. Similarly, Drake could do that, but no, he's based off here. Or he could pretend to change it. He's going to change it to New Providence up here. You could change it here to one of these and then threaten trading it like this. Caracal would be a good place to go. And one thing that's interesting is because Drake goes second, he gets to look through here, and so he knows where that guy's based. Similarly, if you have a spare fleet, and you could do that and put one of your fleets as a privateer, find out where the pirates are based, and then make sure your other fleet that's trading can move through a zone without pirates if that's possible. Okay, is he doing any piratical activities? Temptation is to go against there. Trouble is, there's nothing we can do against that. You could go against one of these fellows. But they haven't got any gold in their coffers, so there's nothing to take. So yeah, he's just setting himself up for possible interception. So this fellow comes in, trades with his colony, and he has, oh hang on, basing first. So first we decide where our privateers are based, if we have any privateers, or we recall privateers and make them merchantmen. Then we can outfit soldiers or disband soldiers. And okay, so he's going to send him as a privateer. He sails up the coast to Sir Francis Drake's colony in Santiago del Prado and says, give us some of your gains. Now, because he hasn't traded yet, you can take the gold straight from his coffer. Give me a coffer or I'll raid that. Now, he doesn't actually have a soldier, so it's not a very effective threat. So Francis Drake laughs in his face. Okay, so that's all he can do is trade. And then this fellow has nothing. Ah, sorry, this guy, I forgot, could trade here. Or but what he's done is he's sat. Yeah, it's not helpful. He's waited if anyone's going to trade with that, and he was going to pounce on them. Let's say this fellow trades with him, and so he lets him go. Okay, and then he has nothing he can do. Oh, I forgot at the beginning of this year, when we were auctioning this one, these mercenary decks should have come out at the same time to be auctioned at the same time, and if they're not bought now, they are lost. So this fellow has to have a gold to bring on his Hacendado on his capitalization track. Then we have colony and a, oh sorry, then that's out of the game because it's not capitalizable. So once it's disrupted, it's gone. But this we can auction. He could buy it back, so could Drake, but he will beat him. So Drake makes him pay gold for it. He can't because he hasn't got enough gold for his capitalizations. If no one trades within this term, we know that's not going to happen, so Drake gets it. Okay, so back to where we were. So no one's trading with him. That's all the unit actions over. So he gets a gold. He gets 3 gold. And he gets... No, it was with him, wasn't it? Yeah, so he gets no gold. Uh-oh! He's going to lose those. You see, I often do take backs in solo games because I'm trying to run 4 different guys. It's difficult to remember everything. Obviously, if you're running the one guy, you're going to be on the watch out for all that thing quite carefully. How can we rectify that? The only way we can rectify it is if they can both trade, and they can't. So let's say he can't buy that, and that means he does get it, but he can't buy it, so we've lost it. So Drake will just keep that gold. Okay. So Drake gets no gold, and he gets no gold. And we have no upgrades or maturations, and that's the end of the turn. Now I just realised once we've finished a decade, every colony that was in existence goes up a unit level. And I think all of these were already in existence, weren't they? So they are all going up 1. Okay, to signify population growth, obviously, which is great for the guys involved. That gives them more protection because they can take a hit without dying immediately. And then I advance the turn. So now we're in the 2nd year of this decade. And we have cholera outbreaking. It says here as well, the percentage chances is 20% chance of cholera each turn. It's actually the first one we've had. I thought perhaps there was one earlier on. So all colonies over size 1 in this district lose a side, and it's happening in the Panama district. And no one has a colony there, so everyone's okay in that respect. Capitalisation, he has to pay 1. And he has to pay 1, and he has to pay 1. Skullduggery, no one's got enough money in case they wanted to do any, so now we go to the auction. This is the Council for Foreign Plantations, not foreign relations, plantations. It's a cotton colony, British, in the Windward Islands of Barbados. Or on Barbados in the Windward Islands, that's here. So Drake wants that, but he's got no money, because then he could trade it with it even as a pirate. Well, whoever gets it, he can still trade. It's good news for him. Could be better. And it's the Duke, the Courland Merchant Marine that are going to get it. Okay, they're going to get it for 1 because no one else is really in much position to dispute that. Unit actions. So he, the old pirate, I'm going to leave him where he... No, he doesn't want to be in Krakow. He's going to rebase. Okay. Okay, it's still too weak do anything. But it's big enough that he could, if he was trading, he could trade with two different places. Now this, two people can trade with this. It's terrible being a pirate. He can trade here, so he's going to trade, and that's size 2, so good for him. Size 2 and 2, full on trade that way. Now this is here, Hospital of Hispaniola. If there was a pirate based in Caraco, he could intercept that trade. And he comes in this way, and he's going off through, he's based himself in Tortuga, so he knows it's clean, so he can come in this way and go that way off through Tortuga zone, and is safe. So he's keeping himself safe. That's nice. Drake has no one to trade with, no way of getting money except piracy. And he can't threaten him because he's got no money. He could threaten the Duke. He's going to have to. He says, look, old mate, it's nothing personal. I need gold. He's not going to give it to me. And I can't do anything about his fort. I know what he's going to do, because I just realised he's got Cimarrones in Venezuela. They could attack his colony. And so he's going to attack them for him. No, he's going to threaten to attack them. So he says, right, I'm going to attack your Cimarrone colony. I'm a pirate. I don't care. I've got nothing to lose. Give me a gold and I won't do it. And this guy says, I'll give you gold and you'll do it anyway. You're a pirate. And he says, I want the gold more. And he says, could say, well, no, just destroy them. He says, no, okay, I'll give you the gold. And Drake's good to his word. He leaves the Cimarrones alone. His go. So Courland comes in here, and both of his fleets. In fact, what is it you can do? He's recalling this guy from privateering, and you can expend that to bring this one up. It's an optional roll, an extra level. So that's put off to one side. You can break it down again later. But now that's a size 2 fleet. He outfits it with another soldier so it's nicely protected. And then he comes in up to Nueva Granada, trades for 2, which that will earn him a princely 4, and then he sails off through New Providence. Now that guy is in Tortuga. Where's Raleigh based? I mean Drake, sorry, New Providence. So Drake has the chance to attack him, but it's 2 against 2. He does have the better sailing capacity, but he's going to lose something in it, probably weaken him. So he lets him go. Okay, and for now he's still ahead in gold. He's feeling happy. Now this fellow, he desperately needs a gold. If he doesn't have it for his player character, the bank pays it to capitalise that, so you can always bring yourself on even if you have nothing. But he does have this that can attack this. Does he have much to lose? He could threaten it, but that guy's got no gold. No, he's going to say, look, I could, but I'm holding them back. You owe me one for that. Whoops. And the Buccaneers say, yeah, we're not scared. And he says, well, think about it. Another turn, maybe. Okay, so he, in fact, gets nothing. Again. So, end of unit actions. This fellow gets 2 gold. This fellow gets 4 gold. And Drake has a measly 1 from his piratical activity. And he has a measly nothing. So, any maturations? No. Okay. And so we advance the turn markers 1. So, I'm going to leave it there for now. But next turn, the Hacendado of the Marquis will be back in action. It starts the game at size 3, but I believe it will come back at unit size 1. The Buccaneers are going to get another colony, a tobacco colony, and it's French, so he can trade with it. The Courland Merchant Marine will sit pretty as they have done. A nice strong fleet, a fair bit of money coming in, a little colony of their own. And Francis Drake will upgrade his colony here and start begging for people to come trading with it. Him, who's got the only other fleet that can do it at the moment. And at the moment Drake is winning with 26 gold to the 25 there. He could bring those soldiers, convert them back into gold again, which means they would be equal. So if we stop the game here, we would declare it a draw, and it's going to carry on. So we've got at least 8 more years, and then at least one. Probably there's an event card in this deck. There might not be. I don't know how many are in the whole deck and how many cards are in the whole deck. So there's a chance there isn't an event card. Let's just sneak ahead. We haven't seen an event card yet, have we? So we're already 1 1/3 of the way through. In fact, I looked at this, and there is no event card, so we pretend we don't know that. That decade's going to happen. So there'll be at least 30 years in this game. In my last game I got to 25 years and we had 3. It was the 4th event card, so that's how it goes. And with the event cards, what can happen is nations go to war. That's interesting, because then if, say, like France was at war with Spain, then you can attack their colonies without becoming a pirate. It's a bit late now for some of us, but there you go. I hope that's been an amusing diversion.